Hello everybody. This is going to be a quick rundown, quick as possible, with how to sculpt and just basically an introduction. I'm going to try and hit as many topics as I can. There's a couple things that we got to go over just to get it started. So let's get going here. So the first thing, once you're signed in, you don't have anything saved or anything. First thing I would do is definitely save. I'm going to save this one called Rubber Ducky, and you'll understand why in a bit here. I'm just going to create a whole nother project and call this one Duck as well. Ducky. Save, just so we have a place for it and a project for it. Can bring this down and select Ducky. And now that Rubber Ducky will save there. So now you'll see Rubber Ducky pops up here. If I hit the Rubik's Cube, I'll go back to home. You should see Ducky as one of my projects, and then in there is the Rubber Ducky, which is what I'm in right now. The little red R just means that I'm looking at it, and it says it's open by me right now. So once you have the file saved, and that's kind of just a routine thing for everything you do, once you have it all saved, then you're going to go into a file and upload. And what we're going to do for sculpting, it's really cool to use images as a reference to basically trace anything you want, any image pictures you take. And that's kind of the recommendation, is you take your own pictures. You can try and find some online, but the goal is to find multiple views, at least 3 views: your side view, your top view, and a front view or a back view, which will help you basically trace from all angles of an object, right? So 3 dimensions. So if I start this, and again, I already created Ducky, and you'll see Rubber Ducky's in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to upload, and what I've done is multiple files. What I've done is already taken pictures of a Rubber Ducky. I'm going to hold Control so I can do them all at the same time. I'm going to do the back. Actually, I'm not even going to do the back. I'm going to do the front. I'm going to do let's do the right side. I really like that one. The right side, and then the top. And as you can see, I just took direct pictures of the duck just on my desk, right? So after these, it'll take a couple, seconds or whatever to get these all going. Once they're done, then you can literally close this. And as you can see, it opened another tab, and I'll show you that. I didn't mention that. When you press upload, it'll bring you to a whole other hub. And again, when I go to Ducky, now that I uploaded those things using this, upload thing, you'll see that the JPEGs are there, and they're just pictures. So what am I going to do with those things? Well, I'm going to use them as what are called canvases in sculpting. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to see Canvas. And as you can see the picture, it even shows a car, a side view of a car, and then the 3D model next to it. And what they've done is created, using Sculpt, a model, but referencing the image. And I'll explain it, it'll make more sense. So as you can see here, it already pops up Insert, but if it doesn't, you can try and find, you'll see Ducky here, and then Ducky, and it'll show just the images. So I'm going to put the front one first. I'm going to say Insert, and I'm going to go to this view here. And as you can see, it brings the image in. Now, I can't really zoom in. Let me see if I can do like a screen zoom instead here. I think it's this one. Yeah, so if I zoom in really close, and I'm trying to make you guys see this here. That doesn't help you. Sorry. Maybe this, not really. So what you're going to see is basically, I'm trying to show you, is these handles. And you'll see this corner handle here will allow you to expand it in equal representation, so equal length, equal, cropping and all that kind of stuff. You can move the object. I don't recommend moving it. I recommend keeping it right in the origin. You can see it's like going right through the heart of the duck, or the neck of the duck. You can use this little tool here, this flat white little piece here, and that moves the whole entire object. Again, I don't recommend doing that. Just keeping it as close as you can to basically, the center port of that system. So I'm going to actually zero these out so it's exactly where I want it to be. I can press OK. Now you'll see canvases pop up over here on the left, and you'll have multiple views, or just one view at this time. So I'm going to put in the other views as well. I'm going to hit canvas. I'm going to do right duck, and I'm going to go to the right side here, and we'll put that duck as well. And I'm going to try, if I zoom in, you'll see try and get it to the same height. And it's all just a guessing game. This is a lot of play and just eyeballing. There's not a lot of engineering. I don't want to say engineering, just not a lot of precise measurements in any of this. So as you can see, again, I made it just a little too small. So now I can move this a little down. try and make it as close as I possibly can. That looks pretty good. If I can go to this left view. And again, I'm just trying to center it just so that the height of the head of the duck and the head of the duck here. And you can pick any object you want. I just picked a rubber ducky because my daughters were using it in the tub the other night. So I grabbed it and I said, that's an easy object. So now I have the front, the side, and obviously I'm going to do the top now. Canvas again and do the top part. And I'm going to select this part here. And again, you can use these other handles to rotate it. So you see it came in a little, it came in the opposite direction that I wanted it to. So now I can again expand this out. I'm going to try and use those references as best as I can. Some other tools you can use to make it way more exact, but I'm not going to waste your time doing all that. So now you can see I got a top, I got a side, I got a front, right? So there's a couple other things first that I would like you to try and figure out. You can go to Edit Canvas, so you just right click over each one of these canvases. And I recommend doing it at like 25% opacity, and that just makes it so that you don't have to see it so aggressively, right? So I change this, I go to 25. You can change it to whatever you want, or you don't change it at all. Just right click, hit Edit Canvas. And now I have these, you can see they're a little bit more transparent, right? Use the cube, and we're good to go. So I only focus on one at a time and then bring them back. And just like in Onshape, you'll have these little eyeballs. You can turn these things on and off to whatever you really want, right? So I'm going to start with the right side because I feel like that's pretty easy. So as I said in the intro video for Fusion, basically what the first thing that we talked about was the environments, or the last thing we talked about were the environments. Well, now we need to not worry so much about the environments. This sculpt is actually embedded into the design element. It's a little tricky to understand, but you'll see the purple. So after I have my canvases put in, I'm going to hit the purple, and you'll see the browser changes completely, okay? There's some cool things up here. You can create a quad ball, a cylinder, a box, a plane, or just a face. And you can even drop down. You can see there's a lot of other things too, okay? What I like to use is a box for specifically like this example. And you can select whatever, whatever one you want. You collect a basically plane, whatever surface you want. And then you click the origin. And basically what I'm trying to do here, I'll zoom in so you guys can see as best you can. Trying to make it so that it is close to the length of this duck as possible. And I'm actually going to put the top view back too so that I can see. I'm not dragging. Again, I'm just moving my mouse around after I clicked once on where the origin was. Way too wide. It's tricky. Here we go. Right about there. Looks good. And what it does is it creates this cube basically around, and you can see it's up in La La Land. So we can use these handles again to squish and that kind of stuff. Let's actually move this. This will create some other things. Instead of one side, we're over here, let's do symmetric, and that'll bring it down a little bit. That helps me a lot. So then you can go ahead and press OK. So all that did was basically create this box, right? We can move, the box or whatever if we want to. They've created a body over here. You're still in that environment. You're still working with that same kind of style duck there. Let's move this canvas actually up a little bit. So you can do side here, move here, and you can move this. I'll move this guy up so that we can really just work with that part. It's okay. Again, now if I turn on the front one here, you'll see I'm going to move that as well. Move copy, just right click, move it so that we can all see where the body's coming from. And I'm not going to make this whole duck today. It's very time consuming, but it's really like relaxing to me. And again, you take it or leave it. I like it. I think it's fun. And what you're doing basically from here. So now I'll just start with the right side here. I'm just turning those off. What you're doing is you're trying to shape this and move this box that you've made, this mold, I think of it as clay, around so that you can manipulate it to match the duck. And what you do to do that is you can do it a couple different ways. You can modify by using faces, edges, or points. I would start, very first thing I would do is work with symmetry. So you'll see up here symmetry, and what this does is think of it as mirror and selecting those objects. And again, I'm going to make this symmetrical to this side, and you'll see this green line that goes around. That basically means this right side is equal to this right side. I press OK, and now whatever I edit to one side, you'll see it turns yellow. the other side will do the exact same thing. It'll move equally, which is exactly what you want. So we have this body, and let's say I want to manipulate and start bending this. Think of it as clay and molding. So all you're doing is stretching, twisting, bending. Try and keep it as simple as possible. But you're going to use basically this modify, and there's a lot in here, I know. But you're going to go ahead and click just the button, the edit form. And what you can do in here, again, is you can select a face, and this handle will come up. And I like to use this white piece, but basically what you're doing is tracing. You're trying to move and twist this object so that it will match the duck behind it, okay? And as I do this, you'll see, I can bring this tail up a little bit, you'll see, you know, your shape come to life. So you can twist, you can bend, you can move. The whole point of this is really just to try and make it as close as possible to the shape of that duck, right? And you can also hold Control and select multiple faces. Helps a lot. And again, just twist a little bit. His butt's a little twist. Okay, so this is pretty good, right? This is coming around here. I can select maybe just instead, again, like the face, you can select points, and that'll just focus on that point, make it a little bit less crazy. And it's all just plug and play. You could spend literally hours, days on all this stuff. This is good, right? The problem still is you can see, okay, now I got this big dip here, and no matter what I do to this piece, it doesn't seem to work. It doesn't seem to bend the way I want it to. So what you can do is you can do a couple things. You can go back to modify, and you can insert edges. So if you click this edge, for example, it's going off to that side. Let's make it negative so it goes the other way. And you'll see that there's a line that is added here, right? And that you'll see it moves the whole object, but what it's doing is creating another surface for you to manipulate, which is really nice and helps you. So I'll do that again. Go to insert edge, click that edge, and again, I'm going the wrong direction now again, so make it positive, press OK, and again, now you'll see I got more to work with, more to manipulate. So I'm going to go and go back to that right view, and I'm going to modify. And you're going to zoom in, and you can click again. Now I can bend this piece by piece rather than let's twist it. There we go. Here, move this up a little bit, twist this a little bit. You can see it's moving this whole object, so be careful. So as you can see, I've worked maybe 5 minutes on this, right? And you can see there's still a lot more to do. And for the sake of this video, I'm just going to keep it as simple as I possibly can. But, you know, your OCD, if you're like me, is going to be really struggling throughout this. So I did the body. It looks pretty good. I press OK, right? Now I got that shape of the right side. So that right side's pretty good. And, you know, you can add objects. And the video that I posted shows you how to open this part up and add a head and do all that stuff. But I'm just trying to get you the basics. So you get the right. Now let's do the front. So as you can see, if I go to the front view, this is still a little wonky. So I'm going to right click, move copy. I'm going to move that image up just so it's a little bit easier for me to work with. And as you can see, now this part is all messed up. So as you can see, I had that symmetry. So I can hit edit form, and now I can start working the front. Basically, your goal is, and I'm going to leave the wings alone, try and leave those alone. And now you can see I got the body here, right? What you do to one, it does to the other. And again, you're going to keep doing this until you get it to as good as you can. So you can add images. I'm not going to go crazy into all that stuff. And you can watch the video as much as you need to. But that's it, how you modify things. We talked about symmetry, inserting edges. I wouldn't do any of the other stuff that is crazy in that video right out the bat. Let's see. We got straighten, plane, thicken. It's a lot. Yeah, it's too much. Combine, can do all that. That's just too much. So that's the basics of how you manipulate an object. If you want one solid piece, you can do that. Now let's say we wanted to add the head, for example. I can do quad ball. I can select this piece, and I can go again just that plane, and I can kind of bring back the right side, and I'm going to make it's really close to what the size is on just by luck. and I'm going to create that new body, right? So there's a lot you can do inside of this, and this body becomes part of that. A separate body, right? If you watch the video again, you have to open this up. You have to then combine these two, and it's all through that system. But this is basically the nutshell of what a sculpt is. You can manipulate, you can bring in images, and then you can create the beak and do all that kind of stuff with a plane. It's really fun, guys. So I'll go to like the top view here. And all I'm doing is adding a plane now instead of a sphere or a cube. So I'll go to the top view, make this really apparent. Click once, make the beak here-ish. Extend it a little bit, press OK. And again, now I have this third body, right, that I want to work with. Right click, move it up to where the kind of the body is. Let's go right side just so I can see where it's supposed to be. Sure, right about there. And now that I have this plane, it's not really a thing yet. You got to make it an actual object. It's just a line, right? Just an edge. So then I'm going to go to there. I can go to thicken, so which is down here. I can select that whole entire object, and basically it'll create a little geometry for me. Pretty straightforward. So now I have this, and now I can edit that form. And again, I can do the whole entire edge here by Control. Click that, and now I can really bend this, right? I can twist it, do whatever I need to do. I can also like pull up and make the bill. You can see it starting to twist that way. You can twist it this way. You can twist it this way. It all depends on what you're picking, and I'll undo that. It all depends on what you're picking. But watch the Lars video. I call it the Lars video, and it walks through a lot more in detail of some of the other things you can do. But that's the bare bones. You press finish sketch, and again, there are some things that might happen. And again, he talks about all those, but that's the gist of sculpting you guys are going to go into. And then at the very end, I know this is a lot, you can go through and change appearances, right? So you right click and you can change appearances of materials, of colors, all that kind of stuff. You know, if I go to paint or, you know, let's see, powder coat, sure, drag, drop, literally anywhere up here. Sorry, you got to download that one. And then I can select by body or by face if I, you know, that for example, and it's a realistic, you know, whatever that material was. You can go through and make each face, you know, what you need to. You can make the eyes and do all that. This whole purpose is just to have some fun, guys, and to discover something new. So I hope this helps. Again, there's so much more in this. Watch the video if you want to from Lars, and I hope this helps.